Alright, time for another video where I awkwardly shoehorn two completely different figures together, but hopefully this won't be super long because we're looking at a couple of very tiny ones. Here we've got, I believe this is Legion Starscream. I forget which thing he comes from. I got both of these guys on the same day from our local comic shop. Both still in their boxes, though his box was open, which is probably why he doesn't have his null rays. I don't know if this version came with null rays or not. I just know that there were none in the box, and the box had been opened. But $10 each, totally worth it, especially this guy. We'll talk about him. But yeah, I think this is Legion Starscream. I think this was the... I can't remember if this was like Thrilling 30 Generations or what. But point is, I got this guy, and I got this guy who is the choro-q, I believe, or possibly QT Starscream. I don't know if there's a difference, but he does not have the pull back and slide forward thing, it just has wheels. So there is that. But yeah, two tiny Starscreams. Both are really cool in their own rights, but this one is blatantly superior to like everything in existence. Again, we'll get to him. But yeah, these are two really interesting tiny Starscreams. They both have some cool things that they do. We'll start with this guy. I believe Legion Starscream. And for what he is pretty cool. I like how the like these are the hands, but I like how they're molded in such a way that when you position them on the back, they look like the thrusters or boosters. That's cool. The rest of the jet looks pretty decent from the top. It's a little bit on the underside, but like the way this guy transforms is really cool. Also, hello Starscream Head. And yeah, I don't know, it's a Starscream jet. You got a little bit of junk off the sides here, but what paintwork is there is nice, like the blue for the nose cone tip, the gold for the cockpit section, the nice red on the wing edges, though this is a little bit of overspray, especially here. And Subcon logos, blue for the what becomes the fist, and then the rest of this stuff we'll see when we get to robot mode, but he is pretty cool. And again, the transformation on this guy is kind of wild if you're not familiar with it. This fellow, though, oh my goodness. Okay, so this jet mode is adorable, for one thing. It's very simple, but also very interesting. Like you can see there's arms hanging out down here, and the little, like he's got the wheels here that are always there by default, but then the wheel here does fold up into the, like beneath the nose section, so like you can, I guess, climb around like that, but really it's mostly just for the sake of the transformation. But I like that they have that landing gear there, because it does allow him to roll surprisingly well for such a little guy. And this guy's detailing is great. Like there's a lot of nice molded detail on this thing, but I like also the dark gray that they used in conjunction with the metallic blue for the tail fins, and eventually we'll see the arms. The red that they used for the trim around the wings, and here is also nice. And I also really like this yellow they used for the cockpit with like the black trim around the edges. It's really, really nice, and also the boosters in black. But yeah, I don't know, I like the detailing is great, the paint is great, and the proportions are wonderful. I love the snub-nosed cockpit with the giant bulbous cockpit. It's very cute, and I adore it so much. It's even got his little null rays pointing out the front, and it is so cute, and there's obvious robot stuff on the underside, but when is there not? So yeah, those are our two Starscreams. Now, when it comes to size, I don't think it'll be a surprise that they're small, because I said they were small at the beginning of the video, and they are small. So, go. There's our Voyager, Bova Prime for our Tall Deluxe, Samus for something that everyone should have an easier time get us guessing with it's a more universal size comparison. And also, I never transformed Burnout back into her vehicle mode from the last video, so I'm going to do that real quick. There we go. So there they are with the deluxe. Let's get the rest of these out of the way again. We can do a more direct comparison. So yeah, here is Legion Starscream with a modern deluxe. He is very small. And here is QT Starscream with a modern deluxe, and he is even smaller. There are the two of those. And then of course we've got to do our most important size comparisons. So let's get this framed a little bit better. And here they both are with the duck tank. Alright, before we do the transformation thing, if you like this video or any of the other videos that I've done on the channel and you would like to support me, I do have a Ko-fi and a Patreon, links to both at the end of the video as well as down in the description. Otherwise, you could always do the typical YouTube thing of like, comment, share, subscribe. Now, to transform these guys, we are once again going to start with Legion Starscream. And again, like the transformation on this guy, wild. I actually legitimately love it. So, first thing, going to kind of pop this section up here, and these just fold back like so. These sections here, the legs actually tab into the wings. We want to pop that out, and there you can see where it's tabbed in. Pop that out, and you kind of want to rotate the leg a little bit at that ball joint so that you can get the tail fin past the wing, and then straighten it out again. Bring that around, and then this folds up 180 degrees to sit flush against the leg. Same deal here. Pop this out. I'm going to show you from this side. You want to bring it out, rotate it a little bit, again at that ball joint, so that this can get past the wing. Straighten it out, rotate this up, and there are the legs all done. For the arms, you want to fold this back section down, and then these will swivel around on these little hinges here, or swivels, and those come down on tiny ball joints. So bring that down, bring that down. And this is one of the things that's an image. This is one of the things I think is really fun about this, is that these panels that filled in the top of the jet swing around and they become the arm-mounted null rays. That is brilliant. I love that so much. But anyway, for the last bit of it, this nose cone, fuselage, whatever, cockpit section flips all the way up and kind of nestles in there. And then the nose cone, it'd actually be easier to do it this way. You rotate the nose cone around 180 degrees to reveal Starscream's face, and then this just fold down his little hat. And there we go. There is Legion Starscream as a robot, and that is a really just kind of amazing transformation. So love that. But before we look at him in detail, we still have to transform this guy, and this guy's transformation. It's not as wild as Legion Starscream's, but I kind of enjoy it more because it does more than I expected from a QT transformer. Astrid's screaming at me from off camera, so she might end up on on your screen at some point. So to transform this guy, you want to push in the landing gear in the front. Take these little bits here. These will be the legs. These just untab from a little, just like a little tab right here. Very little tab that tabs into the gap there. Astrid, please do not jaw the camera because I don't want you to mess up my settings. Same deal here. Just untab that, flip it down. There we've got little legs. Take the obvious arms and rotate them forward. You can also swing the null rays around so they line up with the arms. Very simple. Now, with this done, I find it's easiest to do this now. You want to take these little wings, and they actually do swivel around. So these swivel around 180 degrees, like so. And then to cap everything off, this section untabs and swings down, and I find it's best to like swing it down halfway and then bring the arms down the rest of the way. And this will swing down and then this little T tab here will tap into just the very tip of the nose cone to hold everything together. And there is QT Starscream in robot mode. And is this not just the most amazing and precious thing you've ever seen in your life? Because if it's not, you're lying. Okay. Before I gush too much about QT Starscream, let's bring Legion Starscream back into the mix here. So here we've got our two Starscreams, and they are vastly different creatures from each other. And that's okay, I appreciate that. I like how very different these two are from each other, both in terms of transformation and in overall aesthetics. Now, admittedly, Legion Starscream is a little bit iffy in some of his robot mode proportions. This is awkward because I've got an Astrid in my lap and I'm trying to keep her appeased. So both my hands are occupied with Scritch in the butt, because it's shedding season and she is just dropping an entire cat's worth of fur every time I pet her backside. Anyway, yeah, Legion Starscream, like some of the stuff is off, like the hips are spaced out a little bit wide, which, you know, because of the transformation, that makes sense. The legs, because of the way the transformation works, they have a tendency to want to bow in this way at the knee, so you kind of have to consciously angle them back out to make them look a little bit more natural. The arms are incredibly thick and flat, like super thick and flat. But more than anything, like also the head's a little tiny, but like more than anything, the thing that I think is really kind of about this guy's robot mode is the wings. They just sit so high up on the body. Not that I can think of a way that they could have easily made those wings line up differently in robot mode. And I don't think I'm doing anything wrong. Like looking at the back of this guy, there's not really anything else back there that could be adjusted. So I don't really think that I could do anything to address that. But yeah, those wings sit super high. Super duper high. But, you know, this is not me complaining. This is me pointing out kind of the obvious shortcomings of the robot mode. But, like, really, considering the size of this guy, like, it's it's totally fine. It's definitely a little bit, like, not perfect, but okay, Astrid, okay. She is now curled up in my arm like a little baby. But, you know, given everything this guy does, given his size, it's fine. It's just, this is how it is. But he looks good. I like the color separation that they've got going here. There's a lot of nice blues for the feet, the shins, the forearms. You get the classic red torso with the gold for the cockpit section, but also they painted the section that is supposed to be the actual like front of the jet. They painted it silver, which is a little weird because it's just like the same kind of off-white color plastic that they used for the rest of him. Like if we okay, I've got my arms back. If we fold this back, you can see this is just the same color plastic here. So like painting this silver seems like an unnecessary distinction, but it's what they did. He does not have any accessories. Just that's how I got him. He doesn't have any accessories, but I think he's supposed to come with 2 null rays that do go into his hands, which, okay. That's not, I don't know. Like, this may be a version of the figure that didn't come with them, or maybe they all do, but I feel like they're almost like, I feel like having those accessories would detract from the figure because he already has null rays mounted on his arms, and that transformation design is, as I said, absolutely brilliant. So it just, like, why do you even have those? They don't peg onto his arms. He already has null rays on his arms. They just go into his fists, and Starscream holding his null rays, like, nobody's going to think that looks right. So it just seems completely unnecessary. which, you know, it is what it is, but then the problem there is now we've got these peg holes in the wings for these accessories that he doesn't need. So it would have been nice if they either didn't bother with the null rays or came out with a version that didn't have the null rays but also didn't have the holes in the wings. But it's a minor complaint. But yeah, like aside from the proportional stuff, which again, understandable given the size and complexity and everything of this guy, he is pretty cool. There's some nice molding in a few places, and Astrid. Oh no, here she comes. There she comes. Here comes the Astrid. She's all over my screen. Love you. Boop. Anyway, for this Starscream's head, it's it's very small, but it's the size of the figure, but it gets the job done. I think it's hard to see, but I think he even has the Starscream smirk, which is really cool. I also kind of like how this is like a G1 throwback with the nose cone just kind of hanging off the back of his head. But yeah, looks good. It's the right shape and color, and he's got the silver face and red eyes, etc. Also, the articulation on this guy, while it is simplistic because he is a tiny Legion figure, he actually does have a decent amount of articulation. The head Astrid, please. The head does rotate, not like a ton because of this crashing into stuff back here, but it does rotate a bit, which is more than I would have expected. And I mean, granted, that's how he transforms, but still, it's cool that you can rotate his head. And mine, this thing doesn't like to stay forward all the time. I kind of have to carefully push it and hold it. Astrid, stop. Come here. Come on. Be careful. There we go. She's batting at QT Starscream off camera. Anyway, you have to kind of be careful with it, and it holds in place even when you turn the head, but like it can get knocked out of place. But this is more the figure I have. I don't think it's like a design flaw of the figure in general. The shoulders are on ball joints, so you can go out, and they can also swing forward. Pretty much 90, that's about all you're going to get because they kind of crash into up here. You get a little bit of, you can call it butterfly joints or implied bicep rotation. That's pretty much all you get. No waist rotation because how could you with this design? The legs can go in and out, but they cannot swing forward. And then the ball jointed knees allow him to bend his knees as well as do like a sort of pseudo thigh swivel, and you can also break his knee like that if you want. So limited articulation, but just being able to turn the head slightly makes me happy. I like that very much. And there we go. Head kind of popping back again. So yeah, he is neat. Thing is, he is completely eclipsed by QT Starscream here. Which incidentally, I need to point out, I was originally, when we were at the shop, only going to get this guy because I was like, oh yeah, $10 for this small Starscream. I have a seeker shelf. Let me do that. And then I was pretty much, I'm done. But then Diana pointed out this wall that had some small figures on it. And I was kind of like, yeah, I already looked at it. But then she saw QT Starscream kind of tucked behind stuff. And I missed him initially. And it's just like, oh, wow. Okay, $10. Let me get him. And yeah, this is definitely the big winner out of the two of them. So he is a darker gray than perhaps is normal for Starscream, but it really makes the other colors pop really well. Like again, that metallic blue, which now you see, like it was primarily just tail fins, but now you get it in the forearms and in the feet and in the knees. So it's some added paint detail there. All this stuff is pretty much what we saw in the jet mode, but now kind of recontextualizes it and gives you that implied seeker chest. I love that the wings flip around 180 degrees, so you get the proper Starscream wing orientation. They're like, pointing, backs are pointing up as they should. And then you have the head, which you'll look at in a second. He's this cute little pudgy Starscream, and I love him. I love him so much. He is adorable, but also really cool. Like, there's a lot of really nice molding here, even though he's so tiny. And it really just helps to add a little bit of extra texture to everything. And the proportions are wrong, but in a very cute and pleasing way. I love that he's got this big bulbous midsection, the oversized head. It's so cute. And speaking of oversized head, that is a very Starscream head. He again has kind of a Starscream smirk from what I can tell. My eyes just aren't so good. But it is the Seeker head. It's got the little silver face and the red eyes. I also kind of like how they made the face a little bit smaller here to really push the idea of the head being bigger. It's like if you look proportionally at Legion Starscream, the face to rest of the head ratio is a bit different than what you get here. So this just kind of pushes that idea of the head being, it makes the head look even bigger, which, I don't know, it works for me. And the molding on the head is really nice too. It is hollow in back, but like, he's small. He's small, and leave him alone. What also surprised me with this guy is just how much articulation he has. He's not, going to dance circles around anybody, though he does technically dance circles around this guy. But he's got way more articulation than I expected. The head actually does rotate. It doesn't look up and down, but it does rotate, and it can go all the way around, so you can get head rotation there. The arms don't go out, but they do swivel forward and backward. They can only go back that far and up that far until they hit into things, but you can have him pointing his null rays forward. You could also, if you want, independently swivel the null rays. He doesn't have waist rotation, but the legs can go forward a bit because of transformation, and you also get a little bit of thigh rotation, which was unexpected. So yeah, he's not like, okay, he doesn't exactly dance circles around Legion Starscream. They both have their own kind of pluses and minuses when it comes to articulation, but I feel like even though he's got his articulation restrictions, you can get a little bit more expressive with him just by like rotating the legs out a bit and turning the head. And of course, you can have him like doing a cheering, like, yay, I'm a Decepticon thing. I don't know. It's just everything you do with this guy is cute, and I love him for that. Only thing that's unfortunate is he does have a tendency to want to lean back, which is easy enough to fix. Just tilt him forward a bit. But yeah, it would have been nice if he had a little bit more in terms of heals, but I understand why he doesn't, because this is the bottom of the jet mode, so if that stuck out further than the wheels, then he wouldn't be able to roll at all. Yeah, these guys are great in their own right, but as I said, the QT Starscream, he is the big winner here, which really makes us all the big winners here because we get to look upon his adorable self. Now, size-wise, and here you can also really see just how small QT Starscream is compared to Legion Starscream. And Legion Starscream is not a big guy either, but like, he's so small. I love him. So yeah, size-wise, they are small fellows. They're very small fellows. Here we've got our kind of usual suspects. And yeah, again, we've got a Legion and a QT figure, so yes, they are small. And even compared to a Deluxe, like, they are so much smaller than Deluxe, especially QT Starscream. But his tininess just makes him and his proportions that much more adorable. Also, I should have grabbed a core class figure before doing this, so let me do that real quick. Who do I want to grab? Actually, let's grab a few different things. Okay. I realized I have some other small Starscreams. So, let's get Burnout out of the way. If only it were that easy in real life, am I right? So, here they are with Core G2 Megatron. So there is how they measure up to a core class figure. And yeah, it's, Legion figures definitely smaller than core class. So there is that. And then for other tiny Starscreams, here we've got Cybertron Legends Starscream, who's about the same height, a little bit taller than Legion Starscream. And Tiny Turbo Changers Starscream, who is actually still a little taller than QT Starscream, which is really funny to me. But yeah, he is actually smaller than a tiny Turbo Changers Starscream, and that is hilarious. So there is all of that. And then, of course, for our final and most important, most significant size comparison of them all, here we've got Legion and QT Starscream. Stop shaking. With the duck tank. And that does it for these two adorable, but also duplicitous, tiny, cute jerks. Cute but tiny jerks, I guess is the best way to describe them. Yeah, they're fun. I mean, Legion Starscream, fun in his own right, very simple, but like very clever in the transformation. But like QT Starscream is so great. I love him so much. Love the colors, love the proportions, love the transformation, even though it's not as ingenious as this guy. He's just fun to look at in both modes. He's so cute. Love him. But that is enough of that. That's all I got to say about these two. What do you think of either of these guys or any of the other repaints that they've had over the years? Because I'm pretty sure, like, I know they've done a Skywarp of him. I'm pretty sure, like, they have to have done a Thundercracker. And this guy, fairly certain they did a Thundercracker. Like, I'm pretty sure I saw a Thundercracker. Maybe not, but I'm pretty sure they've done others of him. They at least did other versions of Starscream with this mold. But whatever your thoughts, feel free to chime in down below. I always enjoy hearing from you all. Thank you, everybody, for watching. And I've currently got one more figure banked that I have not looked at in the past that I just recently got a hold of. But it's not a new one. It's just new for me.